This is how weird I am. I was enjoying a hot dog yesterday and went into my refrigerator to put a condiment on. Not a condom, a condiment. I don't put on a condom while I'm eating a hot dog. Although, anyway. So I'm looking for a condiment, and should I do ketchup? Should I do a mustard? And there is a bottle of Grey Poupon mustard in my refrigerator, and I spread it on the hot dog, and it was perfectly fantastic. I then, because I have this strange analytical mind, I festered in my head for about an hour. Why did they call this thing Grey Poupon? It's not gray, it's mustard colored. Mustard even has a color named after it. Mustard is a mustard color. And yet, they call this thing Grey Poupon. Now, I could have done all kinds of Google searches to find out why they call it Grey Poupon. It's probably there was some Major General Grey or something that they named the mustard after. I don't know. I don't think that's any type of a tribute. General Grey, you've been a wonderful general leading our troops into battle and victory. Your name shall live in infamy. We're going to name mustard after you. We're going to take some mustard, the thing that you slap on a hot dog, and we're going to name a condiment after you because of our thanks for what you've done for our military and for our country. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the mustard. I mean, I don't know why it's called Grey Poupon, but it bothered me through most of the day to try to figure out why mustard has any kind of correlation to the color gray. This is the problem that I have. And if you say, well, Ron, maybe you should be seeing somebody about your mind that just will not settle down, I would say, why? What's the point? When you settle my mind down, what do I do with it then? I was talking to a friend about this, and I use the friend in air quotes because it's somebody that I know who I've had conversation with. If that's your definition of friend, go for it. We were talking, and he says, Ron, and everybody calls me Ron for some reason. He says, Ron, why don't you do meditation? I said, are you serious? What do you want me to do? Take a Valium? I mean, meditate. That's the opposite of that's why I can't. Wow, you're so stupid. I went to a barbecue yesterday because it was July 4th. It's what you do. If you don't go to a barbecue, you are kicked out of the country. You are deported. I went to a barbecue. Two things happened there which were remarkable. First of all, there was a guy. I go to this barbecue once a year on July 4th. Other than that, I don't see these people at all during the entire year. It's a gathering of people, and it's just been a tradition. And I go, and whenever I go, it's the same people there. There's like 8 of them, and we have a nice barbecue at these people's house. It's always at their house, and that's pleasurable. They're pleasurable people. But once a year, that's it. That's the only time I see them, once a year. So this one guy comes over to me, and he puts his hand out, and he says, Rob, it's been a year. How you doing? It's Rob, right? And I said, no, it's Ron. I said, Ron, good to see you. I don't even know the guy's name. If I don't know somebody's name and I don't remember it, I don't refer to them by name. It's a little trick that I have. It's not a real big deal. You just don't use their name in the conversation in the sentence. Not a big deal. Doesn't mean anything. Through the entire afternoon, he's calling me Rob. And finally, and this is fun. It's fun. Try this at home. Finally, at the end of the day, I give in. I say, yeah, I'm Rob. Yeah, keep calling me Rob. I guess that's who I am. I mean, what's the difference? If I'm Rob to you, why am I bothering correcting you? Why is it so important to me to say to this guy, it's Ron? For what purpose? If he thinks I'm Rob, I'm Rob. Who cares? It's just a name. Anyway, so we're sitting there at this this BBQ, and everything's fine and everything's nice, and it hits me because these people are perfectly nice people. There's 8 of them. 7 out of 8 of them are not. They're Americans, but they weren't. Their parents were immigrants, or they were actually immigrants when they were children. One lady is from the Azores. Another is from Hawaii, which I think is a different country. Another 2 are indeed Spanish. One's Portuguese, and delightful people. And it saddened me because I'm sitting at a gathering of people, and I know going on in the back of their minds how hurt they are with this immigration crap. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. And the inference that everybody that comes to this country is a rapist or a murderer, or just wants to pocket things off of us, is just disgusting. And I read a story yesterday that a woman tried to scale the Statue of Liberty, and they had to take her off the statue. They had to close the whole island for a while. She was protesting about the shameful immigration policies. The day that you're supposed to be proud to be an American, I wasn't. And I'm not unpatriotic in the least, but it was sad because I could have really been proud of this country on July 4th, but instead I was hurt. And everybody kept saying out of 8 people, a lot of them immigrants, 2 of them were actual Republicans. Even they said to me in cryptic language, we're also sad. It was not a happy July 4th. And when I heard the patriotic songs, I actually got a little bit perturbed at this president that we have for screwing things up. As I've said so many times, I don't mind policy differences politically. But when you have a guy that wants to be king, and you have a guy that constantly insults, screams, displays continual anger, berates people, acts like a schoolyard bully and then some, can't put sentences together, uses adjectives that make no sense or are used by 2-year-olds, those that can talk. He is an embarrassment. He is destroying our relationship with our allies that have been with us since the Industrial Revolution and have allowed us to thrive both economically and socially in this world, on this globe. He has shunned them. He has created, in his own way, an economic war, a trade war with all countries where prices quite soon will start soaring, and you will pay the price. And he has cozied up, complimented, and idolized dictators. I don't understand what's going on. It's got to be a form of mental illness. So yesterday was not a proud day for me. It was a sad day. And that in itself was not a good thing. Sorry to bore you with all this stuff, but here we go.
On the air everywhere, this is New England Broadcasting.
Welcome to the Ron Van Dam Show. Hold on tight. Things can get a bit weird if you like that sort of thing.
I didn't like that sort of thing.
Whatever.
morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, whatever your liquid libation may be in the morning, and join us as we take a look at the world around us. As much as it's a pleasure to be with you, the pleasure is actually all yours. And now, here's your host, Ron Van Dam.
Thank you, Julie. Welcome to the program. I don't know if you felt the same way I did yesterday, but I'm just telling you, it's, we're all different. Some of us are mustard colored, some of us are ketchup colored. You know what I'm saying? We're all different. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different experiences. I believe our parents shape our future. It's the way that we're raised. It's what our parents instilled upon us. See, here's the deal, kids. When we're young, when we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, we are not developed enough to think on our own, to process, to analyze. You can't do it. Your brain is not that advanced. So everything that your parents do when they're raising you at that young, tender age, all their habits, the things that they do, the television that they watch, the radio they listen to, the papers they read, the books that they may have or may not have in their house, the traditions, the way that they treat you, that all filters into you without you processing what it is. It just becomes what it is. You don't start processing stuff until you're like 9, 10 years old. Other than that, it's just osmosis. It's osmosis without thought. That's why it's so important. And to have children, you don't have to do anything but go to a couple of classes to push the baby out. They don't teach you how to be a parent. That's something you learn from your parents. Parents, guardian, whatever the case may be. Independence is not something that is taught. It's something that is in a child and an adult. Respect, morals, it's something that's instilled upon them. It's not a choice that they make. Sometimes you consciously do things the opposite of what your parents did, in spite of them. For spite, whatever the case may be. But it's osmosis, baby. You are a product of who raised you. And I guarantee you that every single human being on the face of this earth, at a point in their lives, probably when they're about 40 or 50 years old, or maybe even 60, but somewhere in that age area, every human says to themselves, oh my God, I'm turning into my parents. Oh my God, I'm turning into my mother. Oh my God, I'm turning into my father. And most of it is, oh my God, because we don't want to be them. We want to all feel that we are our own person and we were not influenced to the point where we're turning into the people that raised us. That's an oh my God thing. It's not a good thing. Nobody says, what, I've just realized I'm turning into my father. Good deal. Good deal. He was a great man. If I'm turning into my father, this is wonderful. Very few people say that. Most people say, oh my God, I'm turning into my father. Oh no, I never thought this would happen. Oh my God, did I just say that? I'm turning into my father. Oh my God, no. I can't be turning into him. And oh my God, I'm turning into my mother. It's a horrendous, horrible revelation. What's up with that? Man, it's a crazy world. I've just begun to write a book. I've yet to title it. I have like 5 or 6 different working titles. If I could make a career of just coming up with titles for books, I'd be a billionaire. But it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. So I'm writing a book. And it was a very slow start because I have no discipline. It's amazing I can even spell that word because I don't have it. I have no discipline. I am a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. I fly by the seat of my pants. I don't know what the hell that phrase means. I live life as if my ass were flying in the sky, driving itself. I don't know what that means. My ass takes me places that I don't want to go to? I mean, what does that mean? I think it means that you don't plan for anything, but I don't know how we got to that example. Well, I don't plan for anything, so you know what I mean? It means that my ass is in control. In flying. My ass will fly all over the place. Wow, I don't understand what that means, Ron. Or Rob. Shall I call you Rob? Yeah, whatever. It doesn't make a difference to me what you call me. There's an old phrase. Doesn't matter what you call me, just don't call me late for dinner. Is that why people are fat? I don't care as long as I eat. God, what a society. So I'm writing a book, and it's not that easy to do. I mean, a lot of people say, Ron, why don't you just sit down and write the damn thing and stop complaining about it? You spend more time complaining about writing it than you do writing it. Yes, that's true. That's very true. Maybe I should just do a radio show and complain about things on a daily basis. Well, don't you do that already, Rob? Yes. Well, then why are you writing a book? Okay, stop it. Okay, just stop it now. Anyway, it's not easy. It's basically, the book is about my observations about things that make no sense to me and won't make any sense to me for the rest of my life. And I had a feeling that I should write these things down. That's another sign of age. My mother, God rest her soul, again, whatever that means, people will say she's passed on to another world. No, she died. I mean, I don't understand what this passed on to. I don't know where you go. No one came back and told me. Wouldn't that be fantastic if someone could actually contact the spirit world? A lot of people say they can. And actually just pose the question to them. What is it like where you are? What the hell's going on over there? I mean, do you have dinner? I mean, like, what happens? Where do you go when you're deceased? Nobody asked that question. Oh, forgot to ask. I wanted to know if they still love me and where they put the damn will and testament. We can't find it. I forgot to ask what it's like where they are. Can you describe it? Is there a rule that they're not allowed to do that? I mean, why anyway, see, that's the problem with me. It's really not a problem. It's kind of fascinating, to be honest with you. Just don't call me late to dinner. I have no idea what I was talking about. So my mother, wherever she may be, when she turned about 60 years old, she started writing everything down. And it wasn't so that other people could know what she was doing. It's so she could remind herself what was going on. My mother would say to me, Rob, she got my name wrong too. She would say, Rob, I can't figure out, they got all these buttons on the dishwasher, and I just press the on button. So, well, Mom, what you do is you press the on button, and then the sanitized rinse is a good thing. And then the dry heat kind of thing, as opposed to the hot water, is also very good. Cleans the dishes really well. Says, oh, wait, let me write this down. And she got into the habit of writing everything down. I mean, anything that bared any resemblance to instructions whatsoever, she felt that she could no longer remember that. She had to write everything down. And all over the house were these Post-it notes of instructions on how to do things because she feared that she would forget what I just said or that someone told her instruction-wise. And I found myself, maybe about a year ago, starting to write a lot of stuff down. And I don't think it's because I fear that I may not remember it. It's because I know I won't remember it. When you're younger, like in your 20s and like 30s, you kind of retain every piece of information. Your brain is just like an incredible computer. When you get older, you can't trade in the computer for a new one. You're stuck with that computer for your entire life, that computer that we call our brain. It starts like to get all filled up with all this RAM stuff, and you can't delete it. So you run out of space. I think that's what it is. So at a certain age, you start to realize, I'm not remembering stuff anymore. I mean, I do remember a lot, but not everything. I used to remember stuff that I didn't even try to remember. It just retained. It just, by nature, it just retained. Now I have to come up with little tricks. All right, wait a minute. So the phone number is 774. So let's see, 7 is a lucky number. So I'll just repeat 7 again. 4, that would be like, let's see, a half of 7, but like 1 up. I gotta have to play little games to try to remember things. And here's the scary part. You kids out there that are turning like 35 or 40, you're already cooked. You don't even realize it. You're just too young to realize that you're starting your cooking process now. I don't know where I saw it, but there's a chart of the development of the brain in the human body, and you're peaking out around like 30, 35. After that, it's a downward slide. And I thought, wow, that's an early slide that you're doing there. And it's very gradual. It's very gradual. Yeah. And by the time you hit like 60, you're more in the, you're more like, all right, I'm getting old, so what the hell? Yeah, I'm remembering stuff. I'm not remembering stuff, whatever. And that's why, as I said on the show last week, my favorite word now is whatever. I've taken that on as being my baby. I'm in the whatever mode. When you hit the whatever mode, it's not so bad. Whatever. I don't have any money. I can't pay the rent. Whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it. Whatever. I'm not 20 anymore. Whatever. The world is changing around me. Whatever. What am I gonna do about it? Whatever. Fascinating attitude. Anyway, there you have it. We have a great guest today, and we're going to speak to that guest right after this little ditty. As you probably know, I am a certified newsman.
This is your source for all the news that matters. Hard-hitting, unbiased, investigative journalism, ready to bring...
Sorry, John, that's the wrong copy.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, no, it's not right. Is it under the...
Under the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's this other sheet. That makes so much more sense. Okay.
Okay, let's go again.
You're listening to a podcast that has Ron Van Dam on it. It's the Ron Van Dam Podcast on New England Broadcasting.
Hi, Ashlee. How are you?
Hi, Ron. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm good.
Everybody knows Ash.
We were in sync right there.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be a problem. Anyway. Okay.
We exchanged pleasantries at the same exact time, so
I
this
guess.
is going to go great.
Well, you're probably halfway around the world. Let's say you are, and that'll explain it. Ashlee Piper is a political strategist.
Chicago.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty close.
That's right. She's a political strategist. She's an eco-lifestyle journalist and TV personality, as you know. She's also an author. Give a shit, do good, live better, save the planet. That's a very straightforward title for a book. No kidding around there.
Nope.
Nope. You know, we all think environmentally friendly, but I don't know if we all know exactly what that is.
Well, it's different for everybody, and that's essentially why I wrote the book. Is I wanted people to at least get to thinking about how they could kind of adopt their own brand of being environmentally friendly. And I think that there's a big stigma or concern out there that in order to be good to the planet, you have to completely overhaul your life, that it's expensive, that you're going to be wearing hemp clothing and looking crunchy. And so I wrote the book to really show people that small changes and shifts in their daily habits can actually help them to be more environmentally friendly without completely turning their life upside down.
Yeah. There are other countries that do far better than we do, I believe.
There are, yeah. I mean, Germany and Sweden, anywhere in Scandinavia, basically, is doing a pretty good job at incentivizing their populations to adopt more environmentally friendly habits. So, for instance, if you don't recycle properly, you're fined, and they actually put on different kinds of educational sessions to show people how the recycling system works and how they can become good stewards of that. So we're a little bit behind in those things, but just because there's not the legislation and kind of government regulation there around those things doesn't necessarily stop us from doing them well.
No, that seems to be the thing today is companies and people take more responsibility than the government does, but that's besides the point. I don't want to get into that. Yes, so what can we exactly do? What are we doing wrong, or are we taking it too seriously? Give me some tips.
Sure. I mean, I think the single biggest thing and most impactful thing that anyone can do to be more environmentally friendly is to eat fewer animal products.
Yes.
So I'm not necessarily coming at this with a vegan agenda, but there was, even before the book came out, there was a pretty compelling study in the Journal of Science from the University of Oxford that actually showed that in the world, livestock accounts for about 80% of farmland use, but only 18% of our calories. So they recommended that the single biggest thing that anybody can do is significantly reduce their meat and dairy and egg intake. And other studies have shown that it accounts for anywhere from 14 to 51% of global emissions, animal agriculture. So that's the easiest thing, just starting with your plate, reducing some of the animal products that you eat. And it doesn't have to be, for lack of a better term, whole hog. You can actually, you can kind of do this gently, and also it's a really enjoyable process. In the Boston area, you guys have a lot of great vegetarian restaurants, good places to eat. Other things that people can do reducing are reliance on what they call single-use plastics. So I'm talking about the plastic water bottles, any kind of disposable items. Bringing our own really actually does make a pretty significant difference, and it's a very easy thing for people to do. So some folks find this a little bit pedestrian, like, oh, I know I'm supposed to be bringing my own grocery bag, for instance. But it makes a huge difference, because have you ever been to a landfill before, Ron?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Are we going to go someday to a landfill together?
Well, no, we don't have to do that. But yes, I have been to landfills, and it does open your eyes to the point where you never forget it. Right,
and some of the most items that you see there, the biggest culprits usually that are just hanging out there creating methane, as they don't biodegrade, basically, are going to be those single-use plastics, the plastic water bottles. They're going to be those coffee cups that you get every morning, the lids, the stoppers, the sleeves. So any kind of single-use disposable item, really doing our best to bring our own or refuse them. I think we were all kind of taught in school or growing up that it was reduce, reuse, recycle. But there's another rung of sustainability in that. There's another R, and that's really refuse. So that's part of reducing your consumption. It's just saying, no, I don't need a bag if I'm only buying one item, or no, I don't need a lid for my coffee cup. small things like that really do make a huge difference, and they're not such, an inconvenience in our life.
Yeah. What about clothing and personal items, cosmetics and things?
Yeah, I mean, I think secondhand is king with not necessarily personal items, but with clothing and furniture in your home. Really using what we have here and what currently exists as opposed to creating new manufacturing burden and resource burden is the gentlest thing you can do on the planet. And there are so many great and really fashionable for men and women and kids options out there for dressing more sustainably by secondhand. As far as our personal care and beauty products go, buying things with as little packaging as possible that are packaged in recyclable or compostable containers, but also making sure that what we're buying isn't tested on animals. That's actually a pretty large practice still here in the United States, even though it's been banned in many countries and global economies. So really looking for the cruelty-free bunny symbol, for instance, so that we know that not only is the product good for the planet, but it's also good to animals, which in this book, I consider that to be a rung of sustainability.
Yeah. One of my pet peeves is people littering the planet. Nothing makes me sadder than to drive around and see litter on the side of roads and highways and plastics just tossed into nature. And there's a lot there's a lot that I can do myself, but I also got to tell you, I get very perturbed when I see other people not following what makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the stuff that we see isn't necessarily even litter as we have kind of been taught to know it.
Yeah.
It's mostly things that fall off the truck. It's improperly recycled items that could have made its way to the recycling stream but didn't. And I'm with you. I mean, there's that whole kind of trend of plogging now that people are doing. Have you heard of that? Where people are going on their runs or hikes and they're picking up trash as they go along.
Well, that's good.
And it's like a form of exercise that people are doing. So if you're looking for some weekend plans, you can always go plogging and not feel as perturbed.
Yeah, well, it's better than going swimming. Now, there's lists and lists of suggestions that you have, and actually some products that are very environmentally friendly and go out of their way to be so. Where can we find this list or these ideas?
Yeah, so there's my website, ashleepiper.com, Ashlee with 2 E's. I have what we call the Little Black Book. That's essentially companies and products that I personally really believe in. It's not a paid site or anything. These are just things I've been using for 20-plus years that really work in helping to ease the transition to living more sustainably. Yeah. So that can be the URL, so that can be found in the book. And you can, if you don't have the book, you can just go to ashleepiper.com and find links there.
That's excellent. I've traveled to Europe quite a few times, and it's so much cleaner, and people are so much more in tune to what you're talking about here. And it's in a sense it's sad, but on the other hand, it's exciting about what you really can do. And a lot of what you're mentioning actually makes you healthier and makes your environment actually perk up and your surroundings nice. So it's kind of, you can do it for personal reasons and therefore be helping everybody.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. There are so many wonderful reasons and payoffs to living in a more sustainable way. Yeah. It's no longer the inconvenient thing that it used to be.
I know that they're finding people to go to Mars to habitate it and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think I don't know if that's the answer to this.
Yeah, I think that feels like, believe it or not, I never thought I'd say about going to Mars, but the easy way out, right? Instead of just fixing the problem that we've created.
I know.
Just finding another place to live, and that's not, I don't know actually how feasible that is on a large scale. So
I know.
I think, if given the two choices, maybe delay your trip to Mars and implement some of the tips in the book.
Yeah, and the hotel prices up there are ridiculous.
They're crazy.
They're crazy, man. Why would you want? Hey, it's
can't find a good Airbnb there.
No,
save your life.
Well, not yet. Maybe soon. Ashlee, fun talking to you. One more time, that place we can go.
AshleePiper.com, ASHLEEPIPER.
Great, and then pick up the book, give a you-know-what, do good, live better, and save the planet. Always fun to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She's incredible, isn't she? Isn't she something? Ah, Ashlee, come on. Nice. Nice stuff. In my estimation, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Make it the best day you possibly can under the circumstances. Enjoy life. That's what it's here for. Until next time, like tomorrow, I wish you peace.